going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Or welcome if it's your first time here. If you guys have watched my channel for any length of time, then you probably have already realized that I'm not a big proponent of the grab your bug out bag and head off to the wilderness to live and to wait out whatever STF event that has happened. You're much better, in my opinion, and if you look at history and everything else, you're much better off to plan to bug in. Bugging in has so many advantages over trying to bug out. You're much more likely to actually live, and that's the big advantage. You know, you can have a stocked retreat with, you know, your food, your water filters, your medical gear, everything that you need can be already pre-stocked at your survival retreat. And you know, you can have infrastructure set up, gardening, you can have your domestic animals, you know, your chickens, your rabbits, your goats and things like that already set up. You can have your security already set up. You're much more secure, much more likely to be able to feed yourself, much more likely to not die of, you know, hypothermia and severely cold weather, dehydration. You can have everything already set up at your retreat, and your likelihood of surviving increases greatly by planning on bugging in and getting everything stocked up and ready to go. You know, even your safety and your security can be a whole lot better at your bug out at your retreat, because you can have everything, like I said, already set up. You have your defenses already set up. You can already plan and coordinate with your neighbors. Everything is better when it comes to surviving a long-term event if you plan on bugging in. However, a lot of people still, you know, they will still have this fantasy of wanting to grab that bug out bag and head for the hills. It's not the best plan, and most people who try that aren't going to make it very long. There might be a few exceptions, you know, there's always exceptions, and there's things you can do to increase your chances of actually surviving if you do grab that bug out bag and head off to the forest to live. Really, to grab the bug out bag and head off to the wilderness, to the forest to live and to wait out a situation is a better plan if you plan on running from something, you know, like the police, for example. I'm not advocating anything illegal or anything like that, but really that is what that setup is actually best for, is something like that. If you know that you're going to be having to take off and run away from some threat that's coming after you, then you know that could be an option. But still, actually surviving long term, short time, sure. If the weather's good and you have a well-stocked bug out bag and you have some skills, then short term it is very feasible to be able to survive, you know, outdoors for a week, 2 weeks, even up to a month or so. But you start stretching it out, and the farther you stretch that time period out, the more difficult it's going to be to actually survive, and the more likelihood that something's going to happen to cause you to perish, or someone to come along and take your life, rob you, all kinds of things. Bad things can happen, you know, if you're bugging in and if you're bugging out. But like I said, you're much more secure if you plan on bugging in and have everything set up, and your infrastructure and your security and your stockpiles already where you are, where you live at right now. You know, there's a difference in having a bug out location. If you live in a more suburban area or an urban area and you have a bug out location that is already stocked and ready to go in case something does happen, you know, and you can take off and leave and hopefully get to your predetermined and well-stocked bug out location. You know, you might have some land off in the country where you already have everything stocked up and ready to go, or you could have, you know, a country cousin out living in a lot better location that you already have plans made up to actually bug out to that location. That is completely different than what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is grabbing that bug out bag and just trying to head off to the forest to live off of roots and berries and bugs and things like that. A lot of people has that plan, but I'm afraid a lot of people, when push comes to shove and they have to put that theory to the test, they're not going to survive very long. But now if you have, like I said, a predetermined location, have somewhere else to go, if you have a bug out cabin, if you have, you know, a camper you can load up and take with you, and with everything already in that, there's different ways you can make this work, but you're still much better off to actually move to your bug out location and build infrastructure at that location through, homesteading, food stockpiles, getting to know your neighbors and everything, your security, get everything situated where you are. You're much better to survive that situation than you are if you have to bug out, even if you have a bug out location already set up. Even if you do have a bug out location already set up to bug out to, a bug out cabin, or going to bug out to a relative's residence who is already established somewhere else, you might not make it. If you wait too long, if you keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and you never make the move, you never go, then most likely you'll wait too long. Because if you wait till everything's already falling apart, like say that there is a cyber attack on the power grid and shuts that power grid down, and you wait in your urban location and you're sitting there waiting, hoping that the power come back on, and you wait for 3-4 days, a week, and everything's going to start breaking down. It's going to start becoming very difficult to actually get from your location to your bug out location. You could get robbed, the roads could be blocked, all kinds of things can happen, guys, to completely stop you from getting to that location. So if you do have a bug out location, don't wait too long to actually bug out, because that's going to be the downfall of a lot of people, even the people that have plans and infrastructure set up somewhere else, is actually being able to get from where you are to that location. And the farther that location is away, the more likely things are going to happen between point A and point B to stop you from getting to point B. But anyway, guys, back to the grabbing that bug out bag and heading to the wilderness, off to the forest to wait out an STF type of event, or to some plan on living permanently. You better have a well-stocked bug out bag. You need to put a lot of time into constructing that bug out bag. You want to get the best quality supplies to go in that bag, the best quality knives, tools, and things, and actually pick those, really pick those with a whole lot of thought, because you don't want to be carrying extra weight. You don't want to be carrying extra tools that you're not going to need. You're not going to want to be carrying things that, are going to take up space, or things that are going to break with even light usage. You want to get the best quality tools possible and do a lot of research on what you actually need to include in that bug out bag for your location. Different locations is going to require different things in that bug out bag. Everyone's bug out bag will be different because of different locations. Where I am putting together a bug out bag, the contents for that bug out bag is going to be a whole lot different than if you're planning a bug out bag for a desert type environment, or if you're planning a bug out bag for northern Idaho type environment. It's going to be different depending on your location. So take that into consideration and stock your bug out bag with the best gear, the best supplies, and also be sure to tailor those supplies to your individual situation. And guys, another thing to consider if you plan on bugging out is you better be in top physical condition, because it's going to take a lot of physical effort to actually hump that bug out bag for any length of time. You're going to be going over uneven terrain, you're going to be carrying things, you're going to be hunting, you're going to be foraging, you're going to be trying to build shelters, you're going to be trying to build fires. All kinds of things are going to be happening, and you need to be in good actually not just good condition, but top physical condition. If you have health issues, where you have to have medications and things like that, you're going to be in a situation if you try to bug out and try to live for any length of time. Like I said before, short term it can work, but long term it's going to be very difficult. And the better physical condition you are, the more likelihood you have of actually making it work and actually surviving. So work on your physical condition. That should be your top priority if you plan on, to grab the bug out bag and heading to the forest, heading to the wilderness type survival plan. And guys, another thing that can definitely increase your chances of actually surviving is to have buried caches in your location. You know where you're going to bug out to, the area, so you need to have supplies stored and cached in secure locations in that area. Food, gear, medical, different things that you need to have stored, because it's hard to carry everything you need long term in a backpack. So having predetermined locations where you have supplies securely stored away, I'm talking underground supplies in watertight containers that are buried in different locations, will greatly increase your chances of actually being able to survive and to pull that situation off and to make it through without as much hardship. It's going to be hard no matter what you do, but definitely having some buried supplies at different locations is definitely recommended. And the more you can have, the better off you'll be. And again, you want to definitely choose those supplies that you've hidden in your location wisely. You don't want to spend money and time and stock up and store these items in different locations and it not be what you actually need when the chips are down. Be sure to put a lot of thought into it, guys, and like I said, the more you can have, the better off you'll be. You can buy ready-made cash tubes. You can make these out of PVC pipe with the clean out adapter so you can screw the ends off. You can actually use the 5-gallon plastic buckets to store things in with the screw-on lids. Even though those aren't really the most secure long-term, I don't think they come more likely breaking down and actually leaking long-term if they're buried in a situation like that. So the best option, is to buy the pre-constructed cash tubes or to get the PVC pipe. You can get the 4-inch PVC pipe. They're easier to find, the 4-inch is, but the bigger PVC pipe is, the better. 6 inches is even better than the 4-inch pipe because you can, put more stuff in there. You can take post hole diggers and dig into the ground and dig that hole straight down into the ground and then take that tube and bury that in that hole and cover that up, and you'll have supplies in a secure location, which is extremely difficult for anyone else to find if they don't know that you buried that there. You want to also take a tarp and lay down as you're digging that dirt and put that dirt on that tarp and put your tube in there, fill that hole back up with dirt and cover that up. And you want to make sure you know where that actually is and you can find that easily. And you want to take that dirt that you put on that tarp and carry that somewhere else and spread that around away from your location. That way, people can't just walk up and see a big pile of dirt laying there and they know something's been dug and get their curiosity going and they start looking and find your supplies. And guys, another thing is to really get to know your location. You need to spend a lot of time at your location, hunting in your location, just hiking your location. You need to know the bug out location where you plan on grabbing that bug out bag and heading to. You need to know everything about that location. You need to be completely familiar with everything in that location. You want to know where every cave is at. You want to know where every trail is at, every road is at. You want to know where every source of water is at. You want to know where every plant is located. If you know where there's a bunch of cattails at, a bunch of oaks, the acorns, different plants will grow back every year in the same locations. Knowing this will greatly increase your chances of survival. It actually also increase your chances of defending that area, because if you know that area better than someone else coming into that area, then you have a great advantage over those people who are there in your location who don't know the area as well as you do. Places to escape, places to set up an ambush, different things, because you have spent the time in that location, and it will greatly increase your chances of survival and greatly increase your effectiveness if you have to defend that location. And guys, if you plan on grab that bug out bag and head to the forced to live type survival plan, you need to definitely have high level wilderness survival skills. And that doesn't mean reading a survival manual, looking at an old military field manual. It doesn't mean watching a survival reality show on television. It means actually getting out and actually doing. You want to actually get out and put those skills to the test. You want to take and actually make that deadfall trap, set those snares, build that fire, build that shelter, build that Dakota fire hole. You want to actually get out and practice and actually do these skills. And the only way you can learn is by actually doing, to actually hands-on skills to master, hands-on training, hands-on doing to actually master those skills. Because if you just read about it and you watch television shows about it and you get this false sense of security and think more than what you do, then you're in for a great surprise, because watching on television in the comfort of your living room is a whole lot different than actually getting out and doing that. Get out and go camping. And I'm not talking about camping where you take your tent and all your supplies. Take your bug out bag that you plan on going with, and that's all you have, and go out and camp during those cold winter months. And don't just spend a night, spend a week. Leave your house, grab your bug out bag, head off in your location during the worst possible time, when it's 10 below zero, when there is a storm that's coming. Go out and actually go out and stay in your bug out location for a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever you can, to actually get a feel for that actual bug out scenario. You'll learn a lot, and you'll realize a lot, and you'll realize that you're a lot better off to plan on bugging in, like I said at the first of this video. And guys, with that said, in a long-term situation, if you plan on bugging out to the forest to live, you're most likely you're not going to make it. Like I said, short term, sure, you can make it a week, 2 weeks, even a month in good weather. However, if you plan on bugging out for any length of time and you're stuck in that situation for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you're most likely going to perish. Too many things can happen. Accidents, snake bites, starvation, hypothermia, all kinds of things can happen that will cause you to perish. You can be out foraging, you're weak, you've been hungry, you're cold, you're trying to find something to eat, and you're out tramping through the woods foraging for something to shoot, something to find that you can put in your mouth to get some nourishment, and someone else is out there and you're not paying any attention, you're tired, you're weak, and they're hidden. They see you pass by with your bug out bag in your firearm, and they simply go pop, 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 and your whole bug out situation is completely over. You're dead. The guy that was there, who was waiting in ambush, takes your stuff, takes your things, and your history. You're much better off, like I said, to plan on bugging in, build infrastructure, build your gardens, build your defenses, build your connection with your neighbors, than you are to try to bug out. But however, a lot of people still will plan on bugging out, and some will try that in a worst case situation. And I hope this video, guys, will help those of you who are planning on doing this to put in some infrastructure out there and to plan your bug out in a more effective way. And hopefully by doing that you can survive just a little bit longer. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video and found it useful, give it a big old thumbs up. Be sure to go right over here and watch this next video in the description box below, and click on the link to download my free backyard homesteading ebook. Thanks, guys, for watching. I'm the Creekmore out of here. I'll see you guys next video, hopefully.